Hi, my name is Clorinda Salsus, and I chose to do my presentation on employee retention, how to support and sustain your staff. So what is staff retention? It is creating a work environment where people want to work for an extended period of time. And why is staff retention so important? Well, looking at retention, it's kind of helpful to look at what is opposite of retention, and that is turnover. And healthcare is in the top 3 industries for the highest staff turnover. And an article that I looked up, Thoma, Ganger, and Peterson quote this: "Hospital employees that fail to assess severity of their employee turnover are neglecting a key organizational resource impacting their financial interest, nursing care processes, patient outcomes, and the overall perception of a positive healing environment for their patients." End quote. Also, the same article just said that staff retention statistics of an organization is the #1 way that that institution can determine their financial health, because it is very costly to have high turnover rates. In fact, the University of New Mexico report that it's anywhere between 38,000 to almost 60,000 per nursing position that is turned over, and then also it costs about $5.2 million to $8.1 million yearly for high turnover rates for hospitals. Obviously, high turnover rates lead to staff shortages, which increases workload and decreases just workplace morale, which then impacts the quality of care that patients are receiving. Bradley University says that 12%, the mortality rate for patients go up by 12% on hospital floors that are inadequately staffed compared to those that are adequately staffed. Also, lack of staffing increases medical errors, and these hospitals that have high turnover rates also have emergency rooms that are overcrowded because there's patients there that need to be seen and treated but ultimately cannot be because there's not adequate staff to perform all the tests that need to be completed. So now that we see that a lack of retention impacts the hospital negatively, let's just look at key factors of how a hospital can retain their staff. There's 4 key ways that can be done, and that's through creating a supportive work environment, communicating clear objectives to employees, and then also offering them reward and recognition and development and growth opportunities within an organization. So how do you create a supportive work environment? Well, according to the leadership book, Sullivan says that a good relationship with the nurse manager, and that's basically because nursing is so demanding on the whole team that those that feel really well supported by their nurse managers, that they can bring concerns or be able to communicate about the good and the bad of their work environment, just seem to have a better commitment to their workplace and will end up staying in their field of work longer. And then competitive compensation, and this is just kind of straightforward. People that feel like they're being fairly treated and getting a adequate salary will end up staying in their position longer rather than going to another company that may offer them a higher wage. A supportive work environment is also created by just having adequate staffing, by retaining your staff. And then another key way to create that positive work environment is through self-scheduling. And the reason that this works is because it gives the individual employee a feeling of just empowerment and that they do have a voice. So it ends up allowing them to have a better work-life balance, which impacts the work environment itself and brings positivity. Communicating clear objectives, basically this starts at the time of hire. So company, it's important for them to communicate their core values to their new hires, so that way the company can determine whether or not the new hire has the same core values and goals as they do, and the same for the new hire. If they are similar, then the new hire has more of a likelihood of staying and working for that company for a longer period of time. Also, new nurses that feel supported by residency programs, it's been determined that they end up staying in an institution longer. And those also that have good preceptor relationships at the time of hire end up staying with the institution longer because they feel like they are being adequately equipped to do their job well. Also, it is reported by Sullivan that managers that take time for their new hires within the first 90 days to communicate where they're doing well and maybe areas of growth, it's reported that these new hires enjoy that feedback and will end up staying longer inside of that institution because of that. Thirdly, reward and recognition. Kelly and Lefton say that people just love to be recognized for a job well done, and it just creates a positive work environment. It decreases burnout and encourages that positive work environment. So some of the ways that that's being done is through DAISY Awards, and that can be throughout the nation at hospitals. There's this DAISY Award Foundation, and that's just where patients can write in about a story that really impacted them, if a nurse did their job really well, and that's just a way that nurses can be recognized, which has a way of encouraging them to stay inside of an institution longer. Also, LGH provides touch points, and this is just a peer-to-peer way of encouraging your coworkers, sending little encouraging notes about how they did their job well. It builds teamwork and a positive environment. And then offering your employees development and growth opportunities. This is just known as a way to retain staff. LGH is currently doing this through tuition reimbursement, so this is encouraging nurses to go back for higher education. And also, while they feel like they're accomplishing something for themselves, it's a benefit and a perk that encourages that staff retention. Also, Sullivan says that a shared governance council encourages staff retention, and shared governance is just a committee on your floor that's able to make decisions about the floor and then also be involved with other hospital-wide initiatives that are taking place. So it provides a way that you can take ownership of your job and feel like you're a part of the team. It encourages employee engagement, and employee engagement is known as one of those things that if an employee is more engaged and passionate and proud of where they work, then they're going to stay there longer. And like I mentioned before, receiving feedback from managers through yearly evaluations, just encouragement of how the employee did really well or areas of growth. This is reported as being one way that individuals feel encouraged, and then they will end up staying inside of that organization or institution for a longer period of time. And then the benefits of retention, the Toma et al. Article just says that it increases productivity in employees. Because the longer employees are there, it grows their knowledge in both depth and width because of the years of service, and that makes them just a valuable team member. And the longer they work there, the more pride they take in their work, the longer they are to stay in that working environment. It also increases customer and patient satisfaction. Because there is less turnover due to, like, obviously high retention, then there's adequate staffing, and thereby patients feel like they're getting quality care. Same with the adequate staffing, it encourages a positive work environment, which again impacts just job retention, and it's cost effective for the organization. It saves a lot of money when their employees want to stay and work for them for a longer period of time. So I have a little video just talking about turnover and retention. So as mentioned prior, like I said, just they can be kind of broken down into the 4 key factors of just providing a positive work environment, communicating clear objectives, providing reward and recognition, and then also development and growth opportunities. And here's another, just a little video talking about how recognition, that employees enjoy it and that it does bring positive impact. So there's just some statistics that are talked about in this little video clip. So in that video, it just is fun to kind of look at how recognizing your peers and also your employees really does impact the business and can help retain your staff. So really, in conclusion, retaining staff requires just a positive work environment, communicating clear objectives, rewarding and recognizing your employees, and providing them with development and growth opportunities. And then with increased retention, it increases productivity, customer satisfaction, a positive workplace, and then it's cost effective for a company. So that is the presentation on staff retention. Here are my references. I hope you enjoyed.